heartbeats of war are very clearly heard in the West Asian region with what began as Operation Rising Lion from Israel's side, where it launched attack on Iran's nuclear sites and military sites, and now Iran has retaliated with the largest ever missile attack on Israel through Operation True Promise 3. This retaliation started last night, and both of these nations are at a clear standoff. The animosity between both of these nations is not new, but what needs to be understood is that who actually holds the real power, who has the biggest, mightiest and strengthiest army capabilities, manpower and military strength. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Simplified. My name is Shubhangi Singh and today we will be doing a comparative analysis between the strengths of both the military capabilities associated with Iran as well as Israel. Now, when we start with, the first thing that we need to see is in terms of the manpower and military size. When we are talking about military size specifically, it becomes important for us to understand that population is a bigger parameter here. Now, the population of Iran is almost 10 times Israel, which makes it a bigger ground to pick up and train from, which can be visible in the terms of active personnel that Iran holds. Apart from that, if you see the reserve, it is again on the side of Israel in terms of higher number, but it is compensated for Iran in terms of paramilitary forces. When we talk about paramilitary forces, Israel has IDF, that is Israel Defense Forces. But when we talk about Iran, it has Islamic Revolutionary Group Corps, which is a great asset to the military capabilities we see here. Now, the population factor definitely changes in terms of manpower and military size, but the key point that becomes important for us to understand here that Iran has the larger personnel, but it is Israel which holds the highly trained and efficiently mobilized reserve force. Now, because we are talking about quantity in terms of Iran, in terms of quantity, the manpower as well as the military size seems higher. We cannot totally give the power away to Iran. We also have to take in the factorization related to quality here. Now, when we have understood about manpower and military size, that is not all. There is also defense budget as well as military hardware that is associated with it. Now, this is the place where Israel overcrosses Iran with a big number, where the defense budget associated with Israel is almost $20 billion. Now, when we are talking about Iran, it is somewhere around $7.4 billion. But this defense spending by the both given nations is not the clear picture, because a lot of spending of Iran on its military forces comes via its paramilitary force, that is IRGC, that is Islamic Revolutionary Group Corps, and they are the ones which hold n number of companies and almost 20% of Tehran's stock exchange. So we cannot undermine Iran's capability just because of the given number present here, because Iran's paramilitary force is definitely not dependent on the state budget. Apart from the fact that the defense budget seems brighter on the Israel side, we also can look into the other powers, like for example, air power, naval power, land power. So when we are talking about air power, it is Israel which holds the greater number, as well as if you talk about the modern aircrafts, be it F-15, F-16, F-35s, are present on Israel's side. In terms of naval capabilities, you can definitely see that it is Iran which holds the higher number, but the naval capabilities on the sides of both nations are very much limited, and whatever actions and retaliations have been done, they have been limited to air warfare. Another thing associated with air warfare has been that Israel has been very particular about making sure that its preemptive strikes are clear in terms of its way, where it bombed multiple Syrian sites last year, its nuclear facilities, its military facilities, its air bases, so as to ensure a clear pathway for preemptive strike to ensure that their security threat is eliminated, and where they see Iran placed in terms of security threat. Apart from that, when we see the other factors herein, such as towed artillery, again Iran holds a bigger number. When we talk about smaller warship, Iran's hold a bigger number. But again, the key point that becomes important for us to understand that even though Israel is leading in defense spending and modern weapon systems, we have to remember that the numerical advantage, the advantage of quantity, lies with Iran. And where Israel is overpowering in terms of air warfare, it is Iran. When it comes to naval powers, it is Iran which has a clear upper hand. Now, not just the numbers, it also depends on the strategic capabilities and the assets that these nations hold, and let us look into that. So when we talk about particularly Israel, as I've already mentioned, that they have superior modern air force, but it is also their defense system which is advanced multi-layer, be it Iron Dome, be it Arrow, be it David Sling's Arrow, or be it the Patriot. All these state-of-art modern multi-layer air defense system which worked for them last night when Iran started with its largest ever missile attack. Apart from that, the nuclear advantage, if it really comes to it, that the nuclear advantage definitely lies on the side of Israel. When we look into the strategic capabilities of Iran, the massive missile as well as drone arsenal which has been not hidden by the world, which has been used in Russia-Ukraine war and which has been supplied by Iran itself, is an advantage which is present on Iran's sides. There are missiles with 2000 kilometer range, and as I said, the control of 20% of Tehran's stock exchange, that is through their paramilitary force, leaves them at an advantage for funding their military operations, military requirements. Now, the key point that we derive from here is that Iran is definitely missile heavy loaded, and it has deep rooted financial as well as proxy networks. Now we'll be moving on and talking about proxy networks as well. But Israel again is known for its technological superiority and the nuclear deterrence it has in its place. Now, let us look into the proxy power that I was talking about and the regional influence. Iran has a very clear proxy network, which is also known as the axis of resistance. That means there are multiple militia groups across the neighbor nations that have association with Iran. For example, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Houthis in Yemen, then we have Hamas and PIG in Gaza, and there are other militias which are present in Iraq and Syria as well. So if we talk about this proxy network, then definitely they are not part of the military personnel associated with Iran, but they are definitely armed and ready to serve the purpose associated with their ally, that is Iran. So definitely this also should be accounted for. Apart from that, there is a strategic depth associated that favors again Iran here, that is the proxies which are associated with them. They are combat hardened, they are ready for combat, and they are present in the region where this actual war might take place. So this provides a strategic depth to Iran, where Iran seems to be losing in terms of technology and modern warfare. This strategic depth provided by the proxy and the axis of resistance gives again a upper hand to Iran. Apart from that, if we have to conclude, we can understand that definitely it becomes a game between quantity versus quality. Iran boasts a greater number in terms of manpower, regional proxy power, missile range. However, it is Israel that has the technological edge, air superiority, and as well as the nuclear capability. Hoping that the coming time does not see a war again, but if it comes to it, there will be a clash, as I said, between quality versus quantity. Let me know in the comment section, who do you think is right on this particular conflict that has been happening and who holds the upper hand in terms of allies. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.